Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the Extreme AGL Metal Cooler and how he performs in the Cell Max event. Now guys, as I've described many times before, do not evaluate how good a unit is based on how they perform in the Cell Max event. The Cell Max event is an event that is best taken on with Evasion, and units that do not have Evasion, high levels of damage reduction, or guard and a high level of raw defense will not be able to tank super attacks from Cell Max, and also probably won't do that well against his normals. Now, not to mention the fact that Cooler is already an AGL type unit. This is going to be an interesting showcase, but it's more just for fun. I always feel like it's something people want to see, and realistically, if Cooler can even just survive a couple normals from Cell Max in his final phase, he's pretty much really good, because to survive a couple normals with type disadvantage is pretty solid for me. Now, as we know, and as I will quickly recap, in terms of Cooler's capabilities after his EZA, he has a Wicked Bloodlines lead of 170% and Ki +4. He raises attack for 1 turn and lowers the enemy's attack and defense on his super attack. He has Ki +2 and attack and defense of 150%, with an additional attack and defense at 20% with each attack received, up to a total of 100%. He also has an additional Ki +1 and chance of performing a critical hit of 20% when there is a superclass enemy, and he has Ki +1 and chance of performing a critical hit when there is a pure Saiyans category enemy. It's very unlikely that you are going to be facing a pure Saiyans or a superclass enemy when you face Cell Max, so these two things don't really apply. He also recovers 10% HP at the end of the turn in which an attack was received, which is pretty good considering all things. In terms of his links, he's got Auto Regeneration, Nightmare, Thirst for Conquest, Strongest Clan in Space, Big Bad Bosses, Transform, and Fierce Battle. And he's on Resurrected Warriors, Giant Form, Movie Bosses, Wicked Bloodline, Artificial Life Forms, Terrifying Conquerors, Target Goku, Revenge, Power Absorption, Corroded Body of Mind, and Accelerated Battle. He looks pretty good. Once all of his boosts have been applied, he will have 400% attack and defense, starting from the turn in which he receives an attack 5 or more times. So overall, he looks pretty solid. I can speak from experience that with 30% support, at full built up level with 1 dupe in him, he sits at around 412 to 420,000 defense, depending if you give him defensive equipment or not, and also depending if you have Big Bad Bosses activated at the same time. I'm very fortunate in that my Cooler is link level 10, so we're going to be able to see just how well he does against Cell Max. Now obviously guys, just a full disclaimer, as I mentioned before, he is AGL type, so it's really not a good situation for him against Tech Cell Max. It's possibly the absolute worst scenario for him, barring, like, actually I think this is, because Cell Max is the strongest tech character in the game, as I'm pretty certain. It's the strongest tech boss in the game. Even the other challenge events, even the other red zones, don't have, so Full Power Frieza from the Wicked Bloodlines event, he is also tech type, but I don't think he hits as hard as Cell Max. Then you've got a tech Mecha Frieza in the Mecha Frieza King Cold stage. Also, I don't think hits nearly as hard as Cell Max. I think his super attack is a lot lower. Then we have obviously the Ultimate Red Zone Broly. Again, we do have Tech Broly, or Tech Bojack. Tech Bojack's also probably up there. I think that's also pretty difficult for Metal Cooler, just because of the chance to be sealed or locked in place, where essentially, Cooler's not going to be having a good time, and that can be frustrating. So yeah, generally I think obviously there's, as you can see, there's kind of like he does well. He tanks very well up till the final phase. That's pretty obvious. His defense accelerates pretty nicely, especially with the group attacks from the physical cell. The chances of you not having a fully built up Metal Cooler is very unlikely. Now the goal when you run Metal Cooler is essentially to not have him die. So if you believe that Terrifying Conquerors is your best team and you really want Metal Cooler to run in that team, maybe you want the stats, maybe he's your only other option, then the goal is for him not to die. So ideally you place him where he's not going to be taking a lot of attacks. You don't really want to be placing him in a situation where he's, how can I say, not tanking very well, or he's taking a lot of attacks. That's just not good. He does have the possibility to tank a couple normals, but realistically, if he's taking, I think, 3 or more normals, you're probably gonna die unless you have like full health. So Cooler looks like he could be very solid. I mean, you look here at how much damage these are non-type disadvantage units are taking, and it's 129k. This Kaliza 96k, 86k. This Cooler would probably take double digits, I feel, considering he's like pretty much fully built up and he's got multiple dupes in him. So pretty straightforward stuff. He'll probably take double digits, but he'll die to a super attack. So as you can see, units still take a lot of damage here. Like, it's not just about type disadvantage. The raw numbers needed is like, look, 68k. The raw numbers needed to take damage or to not take damage from cell max is very high. So we're gonna obviously just skip until we see Cooler take some attacks. Here he's got 414,000, looking very good. 30% support on rotation. All the major links are being hit at this point, just not auto regeneration, which is a shame because that would help a lot. He is going to get supered here, so this is the worst case scenario, getting absolutely blitzed by a super right off the bat. But yeah, it's always cool to see. It's always good to see. 1.9 million, definitely a lot of damage, but honestly speaking, what do you expect? It's the hardest hitting tech boss in the game, hitting an AGL unit. So similar situation, exactly the same situation. 414,000 defense, very good so far, and we're going to see how he tanks some normals here. Now the only problem with Cooler is he doesn't raise his defense on the super. So what you get beforehand is what you get. I think it's a missed chance. They could have made him just raise defense on a super. It would have just paired well with his kit. Not even greatly raising. But 248k, really not bad. Like, honestly speaking, that's pretty good. You look at Frieza, who isn't type disadvantage and had 300 and something k after that super, and he's taking 220k as well. So I think it's actually a pretty good showing by Cooler. Honestly speaking, that's actually really good, and I would be happy with that. So yes, I wouldn't suggest bringing him to the Cell Max event, but as a unit, Cooler is very good.